All right, so we are live here with a very special guest. This guy is a very popular FIFA streamer. Um,
I wouldn't say popular. FIFA streamer, yes.
mm, but he has gotten 30 and 0 on a weekend league, has reached top 200, so very good
True.
FIFA player, that's for sure.
Thank you.
So very excited to have him on the podcast and just talk a little bit about FIFA and streaming and possibly other things, but welcome.
Yeah,
I'm glad to have you here.
thanks for that. Hey, it's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me, obviously, to your podcast. Appreciate it. I've seen quite a lot of good people on here. A lot of people I watch stream as well. I even saw the last podcast with Footheader. That was pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got into details about how tough it is being one, a female gamer and a female streamer. That was
Mm-hmm.
pretty good to get into. It's great
Mm-hmm.
that you brought her on here as well.
Yeah.
Um, that was really nice to watch. I do know Neil's been on here as well. Super
Mm-hmm.
cute.
Yeah.
If I'm being completely honest, I should have been in this podcast before him, right? Because I'm better than him. Um, tell him that, yeah. He needs to know that, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I'll
getting
let
that
you
out there. But yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
It's nice to be here. And yeah, it's just nice to be here. Nice to have a chat. Nice to see you stream as well. We come on your stream, we chill. I'm sure a lot of our community is kind of cross-shared as well. We've got Clevin in there. I see him quite a lot. He's on
Mm-hmm.
our streams as well.
Yes.
So yeah, it's great to be on this podcast. Thank you for inviting me. And sorry for missing slightly earlier invites. That was on me. But today we've got all the time in the world for the podcast.
Yeah, no, honestly, I'm just glad to have you here. It's it really is a pleasure to have you here. So I'm glad we actually got the time and to figure this out and to actually get this going. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't really get invited to a lot of things. So
mm-hmm.
I'm not really in a position to turn things down. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you for the invite. And I'm happy to be here and ready to go when you're.
Yeah. And I'm also glad you're enjoying the podcast. I know a couple other people also said they enjoyed it, and for
No,
me
I think it's really
Mm-hmm.
good. I think what you're doing is really good. You're talking to other people. And it's important, to have a platform where you just don't highlight those at the top of a certain platform, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone's equal in a lot of ways, and it's great that you're giving a chance to somebody who might not be like me, for example, not pulling in the greatest views or the greatest numbers, but using your platform to shine kind of a light on them, right? Obviously, a lot of people are going to come to this podcast. You let us introduce ourselves. You let them know we're streamers. That's a great thing that you're doing. Obviously, you're
Mm-hmm.
shining light uh, on a lot of other streamers as well. And I think I love the idea of the podcast. And yeah, I had to come on it as soon as as soon as you were ready to invite me. I had to say yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice because, guys like yourself, like smaller streamers, like the viewers could get to know you a bit more through conversation, through dialogue. And also it's kind of another way to promote your platform. So
Yeah,
yeah.
we love a cheeky promotion. So
Yeah, of
gotta do what
course.
we gotta do. A
It's
cheeky little self promo.
Yeah, and speaking of promos, why don't you share the platforms that you are on?
Yeah, I'm on Twitch, twitch.tv/SeanJohn2715, and on Twitter as well.
Mm-hmm.
These are main platforms I actually use.
Mm-hmm.
Same ID on Twitter, same ID on
Yeah.
Twitch. Um, and yeah, that's me. Those are two platforms I'm mainly most active on. I think more active on Twitter. I want to say I'm there every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
yeah, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, and then we'll drop those links in the description so you guys can check them out.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, first off, I mean, how's the streaming going? How's the FIFA gameplay going for you?
The streaming is going really well, I must say.
Okay.
The second question, though, the FIFA gameplay, yikes, where do I start, right? Probably my lawyer is going to ring me up on my phone right now. Yeah. So I'm going to leave that second question out, but streaming is going really well. I think the direction I'm going in, or, what I really like about streaming is not the game at all,
Mm-hmm.
It's not the game at all. It's not, I don't care what game I'm actually playing. It's the interaction. You get to speak to people. And that feeling when you hit go live, whatever day you were having earlier, right? You hit go live and then you see those familiar faces, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just popping in, saying, hi, how you doing? And, they're first to the stream. I think that's the greatest aspect about the stream. It's genuinely not the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And I truly believe a stream is not just the streamer or anything to do with the game. It's actually the community, you know. So when
Mm.
you go into the stream, it's everyone who's active in your chat is actually building that stream. So in a
Mm.
way, uh, it's great quote from Bugsy Malone. I don't know if you know Bugsy Malone.
No,
He
I'm
is a
not familiar.
UK grime
Okay.
artist. All right. So he says that he makes music to make himself feel good, not to go on tours.
Uh
Right.
huh.
So basically saying that the reason he does what he does is because it makes him feel good. It's not the numbers, it's not the money, it's not the tours he's going on, it's none of that. Right. So
Mhm.
that's similar look I have on streaming. When I go and stream, it's not for the numbers. I actually have viewers hidden because I genuinely don't care. Right.
Okay.
To me,
Mhm.
it's not something that makes or breaks me. It's not right. So it's something I do in a way. It helps me a lot. The
Mhm.
community that comes in is almost helping me. I know they say as streamers you entertain your viewers, but in a lot of ways, the way I feel with my streams, when I turn it on, I see those similar, those familiar faces, those familiar names coming in, asking me how I'm doing, checking up on me, just having a good time, vibing in chat. That helps me as much as they can say we help them, right?
Mhm.
And that's why I refer to the Bugsy Malone quote where he says he makes music to make himself feel good, not to go on toes, right?
Mhm.
So you do what you do, it makes you feel good. That's why you do it, right? You don't
Mhm.
necessarily do it for the numbers or the money or the fame. None of that. None of that matters. You do it because it makes you feel good. You feel good because of the people who come in, right?
Mhm.
So the stream is as much the community as it is the streamer,
Mhm.
right? So stream wise, everything's going good. I'm really happy, right? When I'm having a shit day, I turn the stream on. I have a really good time thanks to the community. Gameplay wise, wow, I don't know where to start, right? So if you've been to my stream regularly and everyone's watching, you'd know how much I loved gameplay back in FIFA 17, FIFA 18, back when I truly believe there was a skill gap, right? So you
Uh huh.
couldn't put your controller down
Mhm.
and expect the computer to do things for you, right?
Mm.
As ridiculous as it has become, there's even an option for the AI to dribble for you.
Mm.
What? Like
Mm.
they do your defending, they do your dribbling. You can turn on auto shooting, auto clearances. Where is the skill gap, right?
Mhm.
So that way, I'm very disappointed with gameplay. I'm very, very disappointed. In fact, I was telling somebody else that FIFA is more, Ultimate Team is more of a card collector, like a virtual Panini cards, right?
Uh huh.
If you look at it that way, you become a lot happier because you're thinking, okay, fine, I'm just opening packs. I don't care about my finishes. I don't care if I win or lose because it's a virtual card collector, right? Cool. If I look at it that way, completely fine. I think FIFA's done really well. They've got great content. They're smashing out the cards. You can build all these different teams. So content wise, great. Gameplay wise, I don't know. I don't know. To the point where I'm thinking if I want to do gameplay streams anymore, it's
Mhm.
way too stressful, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, gameplay wise, not the greatest. Overall, as a game, I think it's great, right? But then that brings to the aspect of grinding. How well can you grind, right?
Mhm.
So those are things to think about. But gameplay wise, it's definitely not a gameplay game, right?
Mhm.
I'm saying that I can be quoted on that as well.
Mhm.
Foot 21 Ultimate Team is not a gameplay game. It
Mhm.
is a virtual card collector, right?
Mhm.
If you look at it that way, I think you're going to enjoy the game a lot more than if you look at it like a gameplay game. Because there are aspects where you think, how can I do better? And you actually can't get better at certain things.
Mhm.
Like when the random things start happening, you can't get better. So there's no going back to the drawing board, learning this or learning that. There is no training for some of the things that happen in games. So
Mhm.
I'm safe to say I'm not a fan of the gameplay.
Mm. Well, there's so much to break down from what you shared
Yeah. So,
about the streaming and the gameplay, but we'll go one by one. First off, talking about the streaming aspect, the community aspect, and the aspects of what you enjoy about it. And that's something I could relate to too. And I definitely agree with is the community aspect where you get to interact with your viewers and you guys could both, enjoy aspects or even hate some aspects of the game together and kind of like, I don't know, like communicate with each other and also kind of feel each other's emotions of like what's wrong with the game. But yeah, I mean, it's just like you said, the community aspect and just being able to interact with each other is like a huge plus and like it's I guess like I value that more too more so than the numbers. Yeah. And then like just looking at the numbers, if you just chase that and like you want to become famous and all that, I don't know if that's like it's it's not like it's like I don't know if that's as satisfying to go for.
Yeah, agreed. And I
Yeah.
think when people complain about numbers, I find it super. I don't know. It's almost arrogant, annoying to a point where you turn to stream and the streamer just talking about their numbers. It's almost
Mhm.
for me, it's insulting to the people who are there. I don't know if you feel the same way. It's pretty
Mhm.
insulting. Like if even if you just have that one person on and you're interacting, you're telling that one person, like think of it like a scenario, like for example, you've thrown a meeting, you have this meeting, an in-person meeting, and
Mhm.
one person turns up, right? And this
Mhm.
one person clearly turned up to hear whatever you have to present, whatever you have to do at this meeting. This one guy has set aside everything he has to do, right? He
Mhm.
sat down for your meeting, and you're talking to him about how you expected more people to come, and why aren't people at this? Like that's completely insulting to the one guy who set aside everything else that he has to do to come and sit down for your meeting, right?
Mhm.
It's a similar thing with the virtual situation for your stream. When you turn it on, the one guy has set aside time from his day, from whatever we have to do. There's a lot of people have to do a lot of things every single day, but they set it aside as soon as you want to go live. And you're telling them, I expected more people to be there. Why aren't people there? Like, I find that's one of my, I don't know, like pet peeves that I hate when I see a streamer doing that, right? Because very insulting to the people who are right there. So like I say to my stream, sometimes I'm gonna bring up Neil again, yeah. So sometimes he comes to
Mhm.
the stream, he likes to nudge me and call me a single digit viewer streamer, right?
Mhm.
So he comes in, and then I just tell him, look, whether you turn up, right, whether the other people come or not, it doesn't matter. The stream is for every single person who's in there right now, right?
Mhm.
The show goes on, and I'm glad of and I'm happy every single person who turns up. I'm not worried about who's not there, right?
Mhm.
I don't think about all the people who aren't there, who should be there, who in my terms think these guys should drop everything they're doing and be there. I'm not worried about them, right?
Mhm.
I'm fully focused to delivering the best I can to whoever's turned up. So the one guy sitting on that chair in the meeting in front of my stage, even though I've put out 100 chairs, that one guy is going to get exactly what he came for.
Mhm.
Whether the rest of the chairs are filled, whether the rest of the auditorium is filled or not, it doesn't matter, right?
Mhm.
So that's why I look at it in terms of viewers and streams and stuff.
Right. Yeah, and that's a great point that you make. And at the end of the day, I'm just appreciative of people coming through and like, actually taking the time to watch me play FIFA or just want to hang out with me. It's like I enjoy their presence and I want to help them out with whatever requests they have or if they just want to be entertained, I don't know.
Yeah,
But I'm just really grateful at the end of the day, regardless of how many people are watching or if it's just one or 10 people, it doesn't matter. But
exactly,
as long as we're
exactly. That's
having a
just
good time.
that
Yeah.
exactly. As long as you have a good time, that one person is legit choosing to do nothing else,
Mhm.
right? And choosing to actually respect your time, and he comes in or she comes in, and they're spending the day with you. I think that's amazing, right?
Mhm.
That's very amazing. It doesn't matter the number of people in there. Actually, it doesn't matter, right?
Mhm.
Because when I started, I'd have zero, I'd have one, I'd have two, and the one might be, I think, my wife, right? Just
Mhm.
putting the stream up, or maybe my mom or my sister, somebody just turning it up. So it's one, it's two, it's
Yeah.
three, right? So I've
Mhm.
been there. Affiliate was a tough thing to get. We got it,
Mhm.
right? And now you end up even getting subs, and people are coming in. There's
Right.
gifteds, like all that is already so much, right?
Right.
I'm one to be very grateful for what I do have, right?
Mhm.
Because if you've been in places where you've not had a lot, you learn to appreciate a lot of things, right? Even the smallest
Right.
things mean a lot. So yeah, so I
Mhm.
never am ever going to complain about numbers. Never am I going to compare, right? You compare yourself to who you were before, and I think that's the only comparison that people should be doing.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I'm just very grateful. Like just coming to top of your streaming, it's just so amazing. You can just turn on your stream, and people just come in and spend time with you. I think that's just amazing, and that's the whole point. It's not the game. It's not me. It's genuinely the people who come in.
Right, right. And it's not to say like I don't want to get more followers and I don't want more views,
Yep.
because that are goals of mine. But if I'm doing it just for that, then it's just like it's it's not as a satisfying pursuit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? As opposed to like enjoying the process and just appreciating, being in the moment of every time you go live and just having a good time.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, are you frozen on the screen? It's kind of
Oh
like,
no,
oh,
you
okay.
were frozen earlier.
I was frozen. Oh, on my end, it
Yeah.
was like you were frozen. Yeah, so I was like, maybe there's like a internet lag or something.
No, I can still hear you, but it was
Oh,
slightly
okay.
frozen. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so,
I am trying to stay pretty still, right?
mm-hmm.
Because I don't
Oh,
want my
okay.
chair to go squeaky.
Mm-hmm.
Because you
Okay.
can.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, there are a lot of things that you're saying about the gameplay as well. And then you even told me at one point that you played for really long. I think you played since the beginning of Ultimate Team, have you? Is that correct?
Uh, I started Ultimate Team on FIFA 17. Oh no,
Oh, really?
FIFA 15. When
Okay.
I'd been to the UK, a friend actually told me about Ultimate Team. But FIFA in general, I've played since FIFA 2004. That was my first FIFA.
And you played every single one since then?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
when
does
I
it...
say I know what the gameplay could be, right,
Mm,
and the kind of skill gap you could have on FIFA,
mm-hmm.
I might know what I'm talking about, right? Because I've
Exactly.
played quite a few years. Yeah,
That's why, I actually want to...
17 years. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Exactly. That's why I want to hear your perspective because you played in every FIFA. You know what the gameplay is like. I mean, I played couple FIFAs here and there, but I really started playing FIFA since last year, really. So I can't really refer back to the other FIFAs and the differences, because you were mentioning like 18 and how there's a bigger skill gap there compared to now. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could share a little bit more about the gameplays, how it's progressed to this point.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to possibly intentional, right? From EA trying to make the game a lot more easier. Easier in the sense it's easier to master, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in general, the hardest thing to do, even in real life football, I think it's a lot easier to attack than it is to defend, right? Defending is more of a skill than attacking, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
easier to be an attacker. It's easier to score goals than it is to defend goals. That's just the way it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think EA have not got that balance. They did have that balance earlier. I want to say in FIFA 17 and 18, it felt really, really good. It was a really good balance. So if you
Mm-hmm.
played somebody who's a good defender, you
Mm-hmm.
would know. And if you played somebody who's a bad defender, it was pretty obvious, right? And bad defender in the sense where when the AI didn't perfectly position themselves for you, right? So on FIFA 17, even I truly believe, right, personally, that the pay to win gap was smaller as well. So
Oh,
if
okay.
I was, let's say, an elite one player
Uh-huh.
and you were a gold one player, right,
Yeah.
you could have all the icons in the world and I could use the best gold team and beat you quite easily. You could have the best icons on FIFA 17. I could
Uh-huh.
beat you with a gold team just
Uh-huh.
because of the gap in our levels, right? For example, if the gold one player went up against elite one player, the
Mm-hmm.
gold one guy could get the best possible team on game,
Mm-hmm.
and the elite one guy is still going to smash him with gold players, with 83, 84, 85 rated players,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the game actually had a skill gap. But today in FIFA 21, if you had all the icons, I don't think it's going to be an easy game, even for an elite one top 200 player, to just use an all gold team, right?
Mm. I
That
see.
that dynamic has changed a lot, right?
Mm. Okay.
Whether it's intentional, in my view, it's possibly quite intentional, right?
Okay.
Because you want to separate the ones competing and the ones who are casual. So the competitive players these days are dropping 5, 6,000 pounds at the start of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want somebody who has R9 to be outclassed by somebody who has gold Ben Yedder, maybe,
Right.
right?
Uh-huh.
But on FIFA 70, I remember destroying people with Ben Yedder, right?
Uh-huh.
Uh, and Ahmed Musa, actually, shout out to Ahmed Musa. That card
Mm-hmm.
was goated on FIFA 70, but it only happened because the pay to win gap wasn't there. So The regular players were good enough to, if you were good enough with them, you could beat somebody with who had any team, right? So in terms of how the gameplay has changed, clearly the AI defending is on another level, right? And you can do the drop back and the depth as well. So you can shorten your depth to possibly one depth, put it on two width, do drop back, make the striker come back, make all your cams come back, and just run around with the CDM, right? And that makes you a good player now, right? Because the AI will defend for you in the box, right? As opposed to FIFA 17, if you weren't actively defending with that player, he's not going to win the ball for you. He's going to be in the general right area, but if you don't switch to him correctly, you're not going to win the ball, right? And that's a huge issue, as well as the auto blocks. Like, so, I don't know if you've seen some of the videos. There's one video where Van Dijk legit has his leg about 2 feet above his own head, blocking somebody's shot into the top corner, right? When you see something like that, you take the controller and it's done. It's done, right? That's not physically possible. It is not physically possible for a human being to do full splits in the air, right? That's like some Jean-Claude Van Damme bullshit. But with cleats on, with soccer boots on, right? That's not okay. I don't know how that's even possible, right? He's gone full splits in the air and he's blocking like a top corner shot. Like those things didn't exist, legit, on FIFA 17. It didn't. It was such a fun game. It was faster as well, right? That's another aspect. The pace of the game was a lot quicker, and I genuinely believe, and even Kurt talks about this, is that the quicker the game is, the higher the skill gap. Because obviously somebody who's good at the game thinks faster, so he's making his one-touch passes and he's moving a lot quicker. But if you slow that all down, you're giving somebody more time to think about how to defend. And then if he really doesn't have to touch any of the defenders, like he just runs into position with all of them. And it's not really, the skill gap gets massively reduced once the speed is gone. So I think speed, AI defending, the auto blocks, speed of the game, AI defending, the auto blocks. If these three things were even improved, we'd have a way better game, right? And goalkeeper movement, right? This is again born out of the fact that AI defending even exists, right? So how can somebody be good at goalkeeper movement, right? You think about it. So if you're actively physically defending, right, there is no way you're good at goalkeeper movement, right? You cannot think about defending with a defender, right? For example, how my mind works is I'm trying to use my defender to just block the shot. Forget about the shot even coming in, right? So I'm trying to actively get into the right positions and things like that. But because of how EA has made the game now, you can leave your center back. He's going to do the job on his own. He's going to track the attacker. And then you can focus on moving the goalkeeper. Right? So the only reason goalkeeper movement exists is because AI defending is so powerful. If AI defending was just trash, there's no way goalkeeper movement exists. Because if I know you're moving the goalkeeper and you're not controlling your center back, I'm going to walk around your center back. And then I've got this whole goal to shoot into, and you're just moving the goalkeeper left, right. Like, it becomes easy. But goalkeeper movement exists because you know in your mind that the AI is going to, that center back's going to do a better job than you, actually, at defending, thanks to the AI. And you can just focus on the goalkeeper, right? So I think that's like a byproduct of the AI. You take away AI defending, even if somebody's good at goalkeeper movement, doesn't matter. You can beat him. So I think, my main issues are the speed of the game, the AI defending, and the auto blocks. And then obviously once they fix AI defending, goalkeeper movement won't be an issue. Because I'm sure you've noticed as well, once your opponent leaves the controller or he rubber bands, it's actually harder to score.
Right.
If he's a low-level player, I'm not embarrassed to admit this, but it's actually harder to score once my opponent's rubber banded. So I'm winning like 8-0, and then I'm just trying to complete an objective, but he's rubber banded. It's harder for me to then score than it was to
Right.
score those 8 other goals I just scored,
Exactly.
which shouldn't make any sense, right? But
Right.
everybody who's played FIFA knows this instant. You're up by 3 or 4 goals, the guy rubber bands, and now you can't score to save your life,
Right.
right? So clearly there's something wrong with that, right?
Right.
And those are my gripes with the gameplay, like I
Mm-hmm.
said.
So from 20 to 21, has that those three aspects have gotten worse? Do you
I'd
think?
say they've gotten worse. Yep, yep.
Okay.
Definitely gotten worse. I think 18 was the last decent FIFA, I'd say, gameplay wise. 19 was
Mm.
shocking. Like the kind of things you can do in 19. Oh my God. Shouldn't even be there. Then
Mm-hmm.
20, 21. I think they just make it easier though. Like if you think about it, uh, it's to get a larger pool of players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so the really young kids, like the 10-year-olds, the 12-year-olds. I don't want to say 12-year-olds because we know uh, that kid from Denmark, the Budge gang,
Yeah,
Budge gang.
Vergang.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was national champion. I think at 12 years old. So I don't want to take 12-year-olds in this, but the younger ones, the 10-year-olds,
Mm-hmm.
the 9-year-olds, right? They actually have a chance if the game kind of assists them. And then obviously you have the older folk, right? I want to say 30 plus because I'm 27, right? And
Mm-hmm.
remember that I am 27, right? Everybody comes onto my stream and says I'm 40 and 60. I'm actually 27, right? So the older folk, 30 plus, obviously, because 27 is still pretty young.
Uh-huh.
Uh, they can also get into the game, right? Because it's a
Uh-huh.
lot easier. There are a lot of aspects that EA is assisting you with. So I
Right.
think that's why they've done it. They've deliberately done it just to capture. Like, why would you want your game to be targeted to, say, 16 to 25 when you could have it targeted to 10 to whatever age group,
Mm-hmm.
right? No
Right.
upper limit. I know people are like 50 who are playing. I've seen them
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook groups, 50, 55 playing and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, playing foot
Mm-hmm.
jumps stuff. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's deliberately done, right? That's understandable, but maybe we need separate gameplay modes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you have foot champs game mode, there's a lot of assists that are turned off, right?
Mm. I
That
see.
could be a solution. So everybody gets uh, one version of the game to play. So you get Ultimate Team, the version you want to play, or if you want to play the competitive version, these assists are off. I think that could help majorly.
Mm. Interesting. Interesting suggestions. So I mean, with all those adjustments that FIFA has made over the years, I mean, how do you personally play at a high level and still be good at it?
Um, that's a great question, actually. And even competitively, I'll be completely honest. I haven't put in the work to get the results I do get, right?
Uh huh.
Which is kind of weird because uh, I honestly don't practice, right? I don't practice. I don't put in the hours like people do, but I
Mhm.
end up finishing well. So it's
Mhm.
just like it just happens anyway, right?
Mhm.
Uh, and obviously, I did get a 30, but not so many. But to get that, I had to focus to a different level, right? I
Mm.
couldn't just casually do it. Um, and I think I was towards the start of the year when people, as the game progresses, a lot more people get better. So I
Mhm.
think that's why I got it earlier when I did. But I think
Okay.
I've always just been good at FIFA games, to be honest. Right?
Mhm.
I've always been good at. I've been playing for so many years. Right? I am good. Right? I did get a 30 and 0. I've done multiple elite ones. I've done 29s. Right? But am I really good in terms of competitive? Right? And to answer that, FIFA 21 wasn't a great year for me competitively because the competitive world is completely different, right? So
Mhm.
people complaining about how sweaty opponents are for champs. Competitive is something else, right? You
Mhm.
would do anything, like you throw your best friend under the bus for 1-0 win almost, right? That's the
Mhm.
way people play, like their lives depend on it.
Right.
And I don't know if I'm willing to do that, right? Like I did mention this earlier on my stream where I don't want to be, in a way, I don't want to be known as being good at uh, a bad game, right?
Mhm.
So I'm not willing to put in the work and learn the things, the negative things, I want to say, because I genuinely believe you've got to have a slight negative style of playing
Mhm.
uh, in order to get the results, and that's not something I'm willing to do. Right?
Mm.
I've always been a person. I pride myself on having integrity, and maybe I take that to a slightly higher extent to the point where I don't waste time in games. I don't have a defensive formation.
Mhm.
I don't have a negative style of playing, right? That obviously affects me, but that's the price I'm willing to pay. And I'm not willing to do the negative things I can or I possibly should do in order to get the win. That it isn't as important for me as maybe it used to be, right? And I've
Mhm.
never played negative. I've never had a negative style of playing ever. But I feel competitive wise, the last few years, you have to instill that within you. And if you're not willing to do it, you're not going to get the results. And if you're okay with that, like me, that's fine.
Mhm.
But if you're not, then you clearly have to, instill some of these. I call them negative, right? People
Mhm.
say I'm possibly being salty, but genuinely, I believe it's playing a negative way of playing uh, FIFA,
Mhm.
and you've got to instill them in your gameplay.
Mhm.
And I'm not willing to do it. So
Mhm. Right. So
yeah,
some
that's why I stand with competitive. Yeah.
mhm. So some players are willing to adjust their play style that fits to like the meta of that particular game, right?
Yeah, that's a politically correct way of putting it, I'd say.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but yeah, I mean that's what's needed. You want to be a competitor, you've got to do what you've got to do. And for me, it isn't up there with the priorities. Like
Mhm.
I am 27. People do call me old. Priorities
Mhm.
do change, right?
Right.
So being good at FIFA isn't a priority anymore. It's not something where I want to prove to people, uh, or it's not something I can brag around to my colleagues about.
Mhm.
Hey, I'm really good at FIFA.
Mhm.
It's not one of those things. It's not a priority anymore, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
that's possibly where I'm coming from, right?
Uh-huh.
But I do understand, if I was 16, 17 right now, the competitive scene's good in a way, in terms of opportunities, right? There's some great opportunities. And we are seeing that a lot of youngsters, even from India, doing really, really well.
Mhm.
It's great to see it, right?
Mhm.
When competitive started, like FIFA 17, 18, there's a time where I was number one in the country. I was trying to get my country eligible for the global series.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it didn't happen when there was a game with the proper skill gap, according to me, right? That I
Mhm.
enjoyed playing, that I wanted to get better at, right? Like
Mhm.
when I would win a game in FIFA 17 against a top 200 player, a top 100 player, I would feel good. Like
Mhm.
I outplayed him, I outclassed him,
Yeah.
you know? I don't
Uh-huh.
feel like, oh, I stole a win from him by doing certain things, getting on his nerves, getting under his skin,
Mhm.
um, by possibly doing some negative style of play. So that's how it was. And when I got it, I was always trying to push for India to get eligibility. And yeah, it's great. We finally got it. Unfortunately, I'm not good enough uh, at the game anymore. But it's great to see the youngsters doing really, really well.
Mhm. So they just got eligibility
Yeah, yeah.
recently.
This was the first year. Yeah.
And what did it take for you guys to get to that point?
I think it took a lot of years of people just finishing, like, for example, in FIFA 17, 18, I was finishing top 100s, getting elite ones. And then in 19, a few more of my Indian players along with me started doing it. Then in
Uh-huh.
20, we started doing it. So there was always, we would achieve the ranks that technically made you eligible to compete, which is
Mhm.
elite one. And I would reach out to EA, tagging everybody I know who works on the competitive team in EA, trying to say, hey, look, we're in India, we're doing really well, we
Mhm.
got Elite One, I think
Mhm.
we deserve eligibility, and just kept
Mhm.
doing that for a few years, and it's finally happened, right? Like I said, it's a shame that um, it's happened now, right? Where I
Mhm.
think I'm towards the end of my, or it's probably already over
Mhm.
in terms of how well I can compete. Uh, Unless, of course, I'm not saying I'm retiring. If
Mhm.
FIFA 22 has a skill gap, I'm putting it out there. Manual defending is back. I'll be back, right? So till that happens, I won't be back
Uh-huh.
because I think I'm at a great level still
Mhm.
because I can pick up the controller and I can smash it out with no practice, right? Uh, I'm working 5 days a week doing that. I'm streaming. Just turn it up and I can compete. I can, right? So until that happens, I think I'm pretty much done and competitively. And I think it's just a shame that now it's when it's come out. But in a way, I'm happy because I'm looking at my fellow countrymen, and these guys are putting in a lot of work, right? They're
Mm.
putting in a lot of work, doing the nation proud in a way, right? It feels like I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking down with pride over all my kids, right? Because these guys are super young, and as I
Mm-hmm.
say, I'm quite old, right? So probably
Mm-hmm.
my kids' ages. It's nice to see them do well,
Yeah.
and this is what, in a way, I felt like that was my main role, um, was getting us noticed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did that. I feel like I've done my thing, passing on the baton.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I might not be Usain Bolt in the world record, breaking 4x100 run from
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica, but maybe I'm the guy who passed it to Usain Bolt. Yeah,
You paved the way. You
paved the
paved the
way
way
in
for
a
these
way. Yeah,
youngsters.
yeah, and I think yeah, I know it's tooting my own horn, but I do feel like I did a lot of work for that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's good though. It makes me proud the way they train, the way they take the game now. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot more competitive. There's some really really great players. Um, it's good to see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as a competitor, it does suck that tiny bit that I'm not the one there, right?
Right.
That's always going to be that. I'm a competitive person.
Right.
I can't
Right.
lie to say that I don't want to be uh,
Sure.
competitive, right?
Right.
Obviously, I would have loved to be in there, but if you can't, then the next best thing, right,
Uh-huh.
is seeing some kids who work really really hard,
Uh-huh.
getting what they finally deserve, getting the opportunities that they deserve, right? It's good to
Yeah.
see. It's good to
Right.
see.
So you played qualifiers for 21, right?
Yep.
To try to work your way up. How did you do in that? And then what does it take to get to that point? Like what do you have to be qualified for to play in that?
Yeah, that's another great question. I think my best finish was in the 17 to 63, is it? Yeah, I think
Okay.
17 to 32. I think something like that. You just get placed after you go a few rounds.
Oh,
That's where
okay.
you get placed. That's
Uh-huh.
that's the highest I could get to. What does it take to get there? Obviously, the eligibility criteria is Elite One, right?
Okay.
Which isn't too hard, in my opinion. I think if you're a good player, right?
Uh-huh.
Elite One is a very, very fair bar in terms of what he has set,
Okay.
right? It means
Uh-huh.
you can lose 3 games, right? And what are the chances you meet other three other Elite One or top 200 players in your 30 games?
Uh-huh.
Very, very low, I think. So Elite One is a fair, a fair bar that they've set, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. And in terms of what it takes to qualify all the way, oof, I would say I wouldn't know, right? Because clearly I
Mm-hmm.
haven't got that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of work, It's not a joke. I know these players were putting in uh, 6 to 8 hours a day of training, going through their formations, getting their teams right,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and even trying to test the connection as well. What I heard is the better players from our region as well. They have managed to speak to the other competitors in our region, which is Saudi, Qatar, Bahrain,
Mm-hmm.
UAE. I
Mm-hmm.
think they've reached out these countries, and they've played practice sessions with other pros from those countries on the server that will be
Mm-hmm.
used for the tournament, and that
Mm-hmm.
helps getting used to the connection as well. Because if you play
Mm-hmm.
foot champs, you're playing on 5 bars, but some of these qualifiers games are on 1 bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to get used to the 1 bar gameplay as well, which is
Mm-hmm.
not going to be the same as 5 bar gameplay.
Right.
So yeah, what does it take to get there is a lot of hard work, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. Nobody's going to qualify by, just by being good at it, right? Like I just happened to be good at the game. I played qualifiers. I'm not going to qualify because I haven't put in the work, right?
Uh-huh.
So you've got to put in the work, the daily practice, the practice sessions with other competitors in your region on the tournament server, right? Just so you know exactly what to expect on game day, like the conditions, what they're going to be. Because if you just go
Uh-huh.
from 5 bars directly into qualifiers, which is what I did, directly into qualifiers, you're going to be in for real shock when you're playing a 1 bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that aside from that, I think you need to have a seriously good ultimate team, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are restrictions very well done by EA, I have to admit.
Mm-hmm.
They have put really good restrictions in place. So the restrictions increase as the qualifiers, as the months go on. So your restrictions in your November qualifier is going to be a lot more restrictive than the Jan one or the March one, which makes sense because as the game progresses and you're hitting Elite One regularly, you should have enough money to upgrade your team as the qualifiers go on, right?
Right.
So
Right.
restriction in place, really good, but I think you need to have a really, really good ultimate team.
Mm.
Uh,
Mhm.
as good as you possibly can. I know at the beginning, I did have Mbappe, Neymar, Ronaldo, Varane, and stuff.
Mhm.
Basically, as good as you could get without
Mhm.
icons, right?
Mhm.
I think the only competitors who had better teams possibly had an R9 and a Hullet in there.
Mhm.
So it wasn't too bad, in terms of the teams, because I do know a few competitors who are on complete road to glory, so they didn't put any money in, but
Mhm.
they were still able to build a qualifier squad.
Mhm.
So yeah, apart from the hard work, you need a bit of back luck, I would say,
Okay.
or you need to have deep pockets,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that is uh, the truth of the situation, right?
Mm.
unless unless you're willing to put the money in. And one thing I have to say to everyone is it's not worth it. It's not worth putting the money in because the prize money does not justify. For example, some people putting in $5,000 unless you're number one or number two in these qualifiers, you're not making that money back. So
Mhm.
in a money sense, it doesn't make any sense to do that, right?
Uh-huh.
But I guess having that team and then getting into a professional team, if you believe that's something you can go towards, and I do know it's everybody's, they'll say it's their own money, and okay, cool, I guess these kids are young. I'm a bit older, I know uh what the money can be put towards, right?
Mm. Right.
But yeah, is it possible to compete in RTG? Definitely is. Does it help to have deeper pockets? Definitely does,
Mhm.
right? But there is a middle ground where I've seen a lot of pro players like Savvy Panda, for example,
Mhm.
Alan, right? He has done extremely well. And for me, the reason is, he didn't drop a lot of FIFA points. He didn't go crazy number. I think he went maybe 36K or 48K or something like that.
Mhm.
And he just grinded out drafts. So
Mm.
48K FIFA points is about, I want to say 200, maybe $300 max.
Mhm.
And he's on his way to the playoffs. And
Mm.
that is not a lot of money. $300 as compared to what the other people are putting in, right?
Mhm.
I think that's pretty fair. That's like a middle ground where you load up maybe 12K, 24K, smash out some drafts,
Mhm.
really grind the game.
Mhm.
You can compete, right? So your options are full RTG and pray for pack luck. Mom and dad got the dough.
Mhm.
They drop you 5K. You smash it out. You're golden.
Uh-huh.
Or the middle ground of maybe 12, 24K, smash out drafts,
Uh-huh.
right? And another option, I don't really want to promote it because I'm not good at trading,
Uh-huh.
is becoming really, really, really good at trading, right? I
Uh-huh.
know some traders who have like 100 million coins liquid,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, those are the options. And I think that's the way EA put it, right? EA said you've got to get what do you call economical with your squad rotations and team management.
Uh-huh.
And Ultimate Team is not just a test of your FIFA skills; it's a test of your team management skills and your budgeting and your
Uh-huh.
planning. I mean, they try to twist the words, just trying to say it's not pay to win, right?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I guess that's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Well, when you got 17 or to 32, like how many players were actually there competing? Was it regional too?
Yeah, it was about 200 or 300, I think, competing in
Okay, so
total.
out of those many people, you got up to that
Yeah, to
rank.
decent spot. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
I'm happy with where I got to,
Mhm.
right? Could I do better? 100%, right? Did
Mhm.
I really try? I didn't. I didn't.
Mhm.
And I've been saying this to other people as well who ask me, why don't you play more local tournaments? I think the passion is well and truly gone, right? Like I said earlier, I'm not going to turn up at work and tell everyone, hey, I'm really good at FIFA. They wouldn't even know what it is, right? So that isn't that. I think that's a great aspect when you're a lot younger. You turn on to your friends, you're like, hey, you know what? I'm a pro FIFA player. And it means a lot more to you.
Mhm.
I think it doesn't mean as much to me right now.
Mhm.
So I'm not putting in the work, right? I know where I finish is pretty decent, but I can't be upset, right?
Mhm.
You don't get what you want, you get what you deserve, right?
Mhm.
A lot of times I feel like through FIFA I've already got more than what I deserve because I haven't put in the work. I'll be completely honest, right?
Mhm.
So if there's any reason I don't achieve the things in my mind I want or I think I should achieve, it's because I didn't work hard enough. I'm not ashamed to say that. Right?
Mhm.
That is a fact. Um, but it was good to finish where I finished. And next year, like I said, if the game decides, go back to more for manual defending and actual skill gap, none of this AI defending, negative, drop back, one depth, possession, slow gameplay, right? Those are things I genuinely cannot do, right? I can't play slow, right? I actually can't, right? I don't think that's the way anyone should be playing. It's a fast paced game, right? You just want to smash the goals in, have a good time.
Mhm.
Uh, None of this passing to my left back, then whoop it to my right back. I can't do that, right? So if that's what's expected of me, I'm gonna have a similar year as I had this year. Possibly the only difference I would stream my qualifiers because I don't really care if I won or lost, but
Mhm.
I think it's good. It's a good experience for viewers to watch that competitive gameplay, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's what we change FIFA 22. If it's not to my liking in terms of a game that I think I want to be good at, like I want to say, okay, I'm good at FIFA 22, right? If I don't get that feeling, I'm not even going to try again. But I am going
Mhm.
to obviously play the game, and I think I'll have a better plan in terms of content and how I want to run the year as opposed to how I did it this year, right?
Mhm.
And this year wasn't as well as planned as I would have wanted it to, but yeah, I think that's what it hinges on. Do is the game good enough in my eyes that I want to compete?
Mhm.
Yes, then we have a different plan. If not, completely different plan.
Mhm. So how many of from your region like move on to like the next round?
I
Was it
think
like
one player's made it.
oh, just one out of the two 300?
Yeah, in terms of I think the playoffs or in our entire region, I think I'm not sure actually because I haven't reached that far, so I didn't even bother checking, right?
Uh-huh.
But I think there's two slots for the World Cup or one slot for the World Cup. I know
Okay.
Australia's got one because
Uh-huh.
I remember seeing some other pro players complaining about that. And
Uh-huh.
that's pretty crazy because they've got insane players. You'd think at least two would go. They've got one. So the West Asia region, again, I'm thinking there's max two who get it. Most of the slots go to Europe and NA.
So then two from is that just the Asia region or just
Now, the
India, your country?
West Asian region,
West Asia. And how many countries are in that region?
I think five. I want to say Saudi, Bahrain,
Uh-huh.
Qatar, UAE, and India.
And there's two. Do you know the two? Do you know who they are?
No, I mean it hasn't been decided yet. I think playoffs is next week.
Oh, it's next week. Oh,
Yeah, but
okay.
in the playoffs we've got one Indian player
Oh,
in
nice. Who
there.
is he?
Yeah, Charan Joe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's one of the kids I was saying definitely puts in a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Deserves everything he's getting over the years. He's been putting in a lot of work. And yeah, he's going to the playoffs. It's pretty amazing. That in
Mm.
itself is pretty amazing. He was on broadcast as well.
Mm.
And yeah, it's pretty amazing. He's going into the playoffs. And I think you know what I think he can do. It's not far fetched from reality that he's gonna make it to the World Cup. I don't want to jinx him. Obviously, if he's watching this, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to jinx him. But it's not a far fetched uh, thought or out of the realm of possibilities that you're going to see him uh, qualified to the World Cup from the playoffs because he definitely can do it. If anybody can do it, he can do it.
So, how many are in the playoffs right now? How
I think
many
it's top
players?
16
Top 16, and then how
from the
many
West
of them
Asian.
from the West Asian?
Yeah, and I
Okay.
think two people go through the top two.
To the World Cup, and then how many are in the World Cup?
I think 32 in total.
32. So, how many regions are there in.
Uh,
Cause,
Europe, NA,
uh-huh.
Oceania,
Uh-huh.
East Asia, West Asia. I think five. Yeah, I think five
Do
of
they
those.
all have 16 players, or do some regions have a bit more?
Uh, Europe gets 16 slots at the World Cup, I think.
Oh,
They get
okay.
the most. And then NA get 15, 14. or maybe 10, I think, and then everybody else gets 2-2, 2-1.
So
So
wait,
Europe
so
in
in the
North
World Cup there's how many? Sorry.
32 in total, I
Oh,
believe.
32 in total. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, I think I
Ooh.
missed South America as well. So I think
Okay.
Europe gets the most, and then NA
Mhm.
next,
Mhm.
and then South America,
Mhm.
and then East Asia, West Asia, Oceania. They just get 1 or 2 slots just to fill it
Mhm.
up,
Wow. Wow,
which
that's
I think makes sense in a way. It's pretty much like the Football World Cup as well, right?
uh-huh.
In terms of how the weighting is given to countries as well. Uh, it can be seen as it can be slightly more leveled out,
Uh-huh.
but the majority of the investment and the top teams, etc., is in Europe and North America. So
Right.
it kind of makes sense why EA gives them more slots, but it just
Right.
seems a bit unfair
Mhm.
to the other regions. But yeah,
Right. So then these playoffs start next week, you said.
I think it's should be within the next month, I believe.
So next month and it runs and when does it end? When's the final match?
I actually do not know. I think it's August in London, so I'm guessing the playoffs get over before that, surely.
Who was the final matchup last year then?
Uh,
Do you remember?
how do I not remember? That shows you how much I've been caring about competitive. Who was the guy? I swear it was Mo Abba was last year's champion. Was he? He's gonna
Really?
kill me if he wasn't. Oh my god, it's gonna
Was
be
that
embarrassing.
last year or like two
It
couple
was a
years ago?
pandemic. Yeah, my uh, sense of time is warped. World Cup winner FIFA 20. Yeah, it was Mo Abba
Oh,
from Germany. Yeah, yeah,
he won last year.
yeah. He won last year. Yeah.
Wow. Didn't he win like a couple years ago too? Am I
No,
mistaken
I
on
think that
that?
was his very first one on
That
Mo
was
Abba.
his
And I
very
think it was
first one,
bit.
and then he won another one last year.
No, last year was his first one. FIFA 20 was his first
Oh, so
World Cup.
then he probably won some other
Yeah, I
tournament,
think there were
maybe not a
regional
World Cup.
tournaments as well. There's regional tournaments as well.
Okay,
Like like each region has their finals. I think that
okay,
wasn't there this year.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I seen him like I think he faced like who's the Saudi guy? What was his name again?
Dasari. Yeah, yeah, that was a
Desari,
World
MS
Cup, I believe. That
Desari.
was the
Yeah,
final. Yeah.
but that was like some other tournament. Was that a World Cup?
Oh no, I think that was definitely the World Cup. I believe that was the final. Moaba versus Dasari.
Oh, okay. And then
That's
like,
the only way they would play versus each other, right? Because that's Europe and West Asia. So
uh huh,
the only way they could meet is in a World Cup. It can't be a regional.
gotcha. Okay. And then like Tex has won it before. He's won a
Yeah,
World
Tex
Cup.
won FIFA 19, I believe.
FIFA 19.
Yeah.
Okay. Who are other
Did he?
notable?
Oh no, wait. We need to confirm. 1 second.
Because
I'm
I'm
just
getting
realizing
like,
how bad my memory is.
because I might get these pro tournaments mixed up, whether it's like World Cup or if it's some other tournament.
Agreed. Agreed. Even
Yeah.
I'm getting things messed up, to
Yeah.
be honest. FIFA World Cup 2020 winner. 1 second. Or is this FIFA World Cup 2020? Are we in the 2020 World Cup?
Hmm. I guess as a FIFA fan, I should
2019.
be more educated in this.
Agreed. Agreed. I mean, I'm more of a my own fan, right? So
Uh huh.
I'm not. I don't fanboy the rest of the tournament. Unfortunately.
Right.
Uh, yeah, maybe Dosari won last year. Did he? And
Mm.
then Moaba won 2019. So you could be right
Mm.
there. I think
Mm.
Dosari won last year.
Mm. Yeah, I'm familiar with like certain pros and seeing them play
Yeah.
against each other, but I'm not familiar with what tournament is which is qualifier or World Cup.
The problem is, right,
Mm-hmm.
why you missed it and a lot of the other people missed it is because EA forgot to give you icon swap tokens for watching the tournament, right? Because
Mm.
if they don't do that, we're not gonna tune in. I know, and I think that is a testament to what I was saying earlier in terms of the gameplay. Nobody's really tuning in to watch somebody run around with their CDM for 90 minutes.
Mhm.
right? But go back to FIFA 17 and just watch the viewership numbers on those finals, right?
Mhm.
People loved it. People loved watching the FIFA 17 gameplay,
Mhm.
right? So people tuned in not for rewards, but now EA's got to give you rewards and you link your Twitch, and then maybe you get some tokens to open up some rare mega packs on the game
Mhm.
to watch it. I think that in itself speaks volumes,
Mhm.
right? As to what I was saying about gameplay.
Mhm.
You didn't have to pay us or, under the table pay us to tune into the FIFA E World Cup,
Mhm.
right? When it's FIFA 17, 18, everyone wanted to watch because that was so exciting, right? It
Yeah.
was so exciting. You tune in to watch. You didn't tune in for tokens. So,
Right.
hey, there's a story in that, right?
Yeah, even I noticed recently, like one of the swaps for like when EA was hosting like a game is like you had to watch for an hour, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch an hour to get one swap, you know?
Right, exactly, exactly. The fact that these events were so what do you call, not really memorable is because of the gameplay, right? If they
Uh-huh.
showed you a video of all the new cards, all the new icons that are in the game, you'd probably watch for 1 hour, right? Because that's interesting now, right? Now in
Mm-hmm.
FIFA terms, that's what's interesting: the content, the new cards, the new players, the new partnerships that they bring in. That's more interesting than sitting down and watching arguably the greatest FIFA players ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a shame because that's not how it always was. Like I said, FIFA 17, 18, viewership numbers were through the roofs.
Mm-hmm.
But now on an event, you're seeing, I don't want to say small numbers, right? I'm no one to talk, but when you see an EA event with 5,000 viewers or 3,000 viewers when they haven't offered tokens or anything like that, that's pretty wild.
Mm.
And even when they offer the tokens, when you look at chat, it's literally claim, give me Ronaldo, give me
Yeah.
Mbappe, give me, like, the chat is not in sync with the game. They do not care. There's no celebrations when there's a goal. Like in
Right.
the chat, there's nothing. It's
Yeah.
claim free
Right.
Ronaldo, Cristiano, or something, and then somebody comes up with something that's not auto blocked by the Twitch bot for the channel, and then
Mm-hmm.
everybody copy pastes that, and
Right.
I mean, it just speaks volumes, right? Like
Uh-huh.
people would rather do anything else than watch competitive FIFA. And I think that is a big problem and partly down to the gameplay, you know.
Mm.
And now that I say that, I'm not even kidding. Like, go back and watch if you put in Google FIFA 2017 E World Cup for FIFA. Just watch the games that were there. Huge Gorilla was playing, and he's one of the best attacking players ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at him, like his performances on FIFA 21, obviously they were good, but it's nowhere where it used to be, right? Because in a way, the quick thinking, attacking players have been nerfed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that's a real shame because the way Gorilla attacks is just absolutely amazing, right?
Mm.
So in FIFA 17 and stuff, he was unleashed. So those kind of players were unleashed, but now it feels like they've been caged up, and
Mm.
there's almost these parameters that they're trying to fit you into. They're trying to jam
Mm.
everyone into a box, and everyone's got to play the exact same way, the exact same formation, the exact same players, the exact same tactics, the exact same build up, the slow gameplay. It's almost boring to watch. Nobody's going to watch it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas FIFA 17 stuff, it was so quick. And when somebody manually defended, you would appreciate their defending as well, thinking, wow, this guy's such a good defender.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see that anymore, right? And
Mm.
again, like I said, that is a testament to what's happened to the gameplay.
Mm. Even now, I still go on YouTube and I still see like FIFA gameplay of pros going against each other, and it's still pretty fascinating to be like how good these guys are and them playing FIFA at such a high level. Like I actually kind of learned a lot watching them, and then there's a lot of things that they do where like I can't even do on my own, and that in itself just impresses me as well. So yeah. I don't know what you think. Is there like people that you like watching, and do you watch like pro
Um,
gameplay as well on YouTube?
I don't watch pro gameplay.
Okay.
Unfortunately, unless it's somebody I know. For example, somebody I know that's competing. I
Mhm.
want them to do well. I do watch them, but the gameplay itself, it doesn't excite me. I don't watch it for the gameplay. Like I said,
Mhm.
if I do turn on a stream, and somebody who I think is really great at the game and people can learn from is Boris Legend.
Mm.
I really enjoy his streams
Mhm.
uh, and his gameplay as well. I do watch it for that.
Mhm.
Uh, but in terms of me trying to learn, like I said, I haven't been putting in the work, so I'm not really trying to learn when I look at other people playing. I'm not really trying to learn. Uh, so in that way, no, I don't watch pro gameplay to try and learn how to play. I would
Mhm.
prefer to play the way I like to play, even if
Mhm.
that means I just lose. Right?
Mhm.
I'm willing to live with that. Uh, and that's another thing that's changed completely with FIFA. Like you hop on YouTube, you just put tips and tricks.
Right.
Everyone's got the same tips and tricks. You
Mhm.
put in custom tactics instructions. Everybody's running the same instructions. Everyone's running the same squads. Like it's so
Uh-huh.
weird for me to watch, and I know like it almost comes across like I'm complaining about everything, but you've got to understand where I'm coming from, right? Like FIFA City was amazing. You made your own. Like your tactics didn't really make you. Your tactics
Mm.
kind of mattered, but it wasn't like the be all end all. You kind of shifted a few buttons there and increase something or decrease something, but it didn't make you. You made the game.
Mm.
What you decided to do in the game had a lot more control than some tactics or instructions or the AI doing something that they choose to do on their own.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's my biggest gripe. Like you had so much control over it. So your tactics
Mhm.
didn't matter. The pay to win aspect was smaller. So your team really didn't matter, right?
Mm.
So you could go out there and really just be a FIFA player, right?
Mm.
Like be the guy doing everything.
Mhm.
Like all that power is on you.
Mhm.
But now it's almost like you take a laid back stance. Boris Legend tips and tricks. Boom. He tells you exactly what to do. You copy it down to a T. Then some other guy. I'm going to throw in Ranners as well. He's
Uh-huh.
he's dropping a lot of videos. Ranners custom tactics and instructions. Boom, you've got it right.
Uh.
So to me, it takes a lot of aspect of individuality.
Mhm.
There's no individuals anymore. It's just like here's a box, set things you can do,
Mhm.
jam everyone into this box,
Mm.
and send them out there like bots. Yeah, all these bots just run out and do this. Like you're writing code, and then the same thing just happens. Once in a while, there's an exception, but
Uh-huh.
that's my gripe. I think the
Mhm.
individuality is gone. Right?
Mm.
People don't think for themselves. Um, don't build their own squads. They don't play with players they like.
Mhm.
They don't use formations they like. They don't
Mm.
use tactics or instructions they like. They don't play the way they like. It's almost, I mean, after a while, right? 30 games of exactly the same guy who's got YouTube open on one side, has got YouTube on his phone as well, just checking tactics at the same, like, yeah, it's not,
Well, I'll say
it's
I
changed.
am.
It's really changed. Yeah,
Well, I will say I am a victim of that, of doing that. Being a guy that kind of just got into FIFA, I just try
yeah,
to learn. But yeah, I mean, I'm just watching those
I
videos to kind of learn and see,
yeah.
figure out on my own as well, like what I
Yeah,
like
no, but
to.
but I don't blame you because that's the way the game has become. The game has
Mhm.
become here are these parameters. You've got to behave and stay within these parameters if you want results.
Mhm.
And that's a problem for me because that takes out all the individuality, right?
Mhm.
Uh, and yeah, so I don't blame people for doing that.
Mhm.
I'm not coming at the players.
Mhm.
I'm more of coming at the gameplay.
Well, for
They shouldn't
you,
be. Yeah,
right, for you it's different because you played all the other FIFAs, so you know the gameplay a lot better. You know more about tactics and the concepts of the game. You know all about it. So for you to give your perspective and for you to share your thoughts, it's like more valuable information, I would say.
Mm.
It's like yeah, it's like I understand where you're coming from when you're saying these
Yeah,
things. Yeah.
and it makes sense because a lot of new players who just come in, they don't understand how good the game could be, right? So it might come
Right.
off as a lot of these old guys really complain, right? Like the future is now old, man. Like that's how they talk to me, right?
Mhm.
Because I'm old, but they don't understand how good this could be
Mm.
or how good this was, right?
Mhm.
We don't have to settle with what is.
Right.
There's a lot more we could be experiencing, right?
Right. Like I never
When the
played
yeah
17 or 18, so I don't
yeah
know.
exactly, and
Yeah.
that's the problem I run into on my chat when I'm losing my head. People just think this guy complains too much, or he's whining too much. It's if I never played any of those games and I just popped in FIFA 21 for the first time, I
Mhm.
would probably think this is the greatest game on God's green earth, right?
Mhm.
I'll be thinking this is amazing. We can actually play football on a video game. Oh my days,
Mhm.
right? But I know how good it was and how good it can be, right?
Mm.
So for me,
Mm.
it's very difficult to see, uh, like I said, this cage around my gameplay, right? You're telling me if I need to win, I need to do these set certain things. There's no detracting from the line, right?
Mhm.
That's something I find hard to like digest.
Mm.
I should be the one in control of everything. My tactics, yeah, it should kind of be there on the side, have a slight influence. Again, I believe in FIFA 17, it had the perfect balance of attacking AI, of defensive AI,
Mhm.
and just how effective tactics are. Tactics had a small thing to do with the bigger picture.
Mm.
You know, the
Mhm.
the weightage on your tactics was a lot smaller than it is today. Now
Mm.
your tactics do mean a lot, right? You could make and
Mm.
break. You could make somebody who's an average guy to somebody who's really good at the game. And
Mhm.
for me, that shouldn't be the case.
Mhm.
The rest of the things should just be complementary to you.
Mhm.
It needs to be around you.
Yeah.
You need to be the center of how your team performs in game.
Mhm.
You shouldn't just be one of the factors in these 10 other factors.
Mhm.
And that's my gripe. And I
Mhm.
think speaking about it, I think I put it a lot more better into words than this an AI game or something like that. Right. I
Mhm.
think speaking about it has helped me explain my point of view a lot better than
Right.
just giving you like buzzwords like AI defending or something like that.
Right. I think it gives a good insight of just how the gameplay has changed. It gives a good breakdown of like just your knowledge of the game and also just understanding of like just the game itself. So it gives me a better understanding of the game too, and it like shapes my perspective. So like I'm learning from you as you're telling me this, and I'm glad you're sharing this. And probably the audience, whoever is gonna be watching this, also understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and
So
hopefully that builds up a good excuse to when I lose in FIFA 21. All right. I think my excuse has been put in really well. No, but yeah,
yeah.
that's genuinely how I feel. It's great to
Uh-huh.
talk about it as well.
Yeah.
I think I've explained it quite well. I'm happy with the words I've used to explain it.
Right. You
But I'm a
tar
lot
you
calmer, right?
uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a lot better to explain it this way than when I'm angry and there's F bombs and S
Uh-huh.
bombs and other stuff dropping. You kind of
Yeah.
lose the point. But I think when you sit down, you're calm about it, nicely explain the things that you think are missing, could be there.
Yeah, and I'm glad you have this insightfulness about the game and you can articulate it pretty well because there aren't many people that I know that knows FIFA to probably the extent that you do. And not only that, you're a really skilled player as well. So there's a lot of weight to what you say and to your knowledge of the game. So, I appreciate you sharing that and it's like a real treat to hear you share.
No, I think yeah. I think obviously that's why I had to take this opportunity, right?
Uh-huh.
And obviously you've asked the right questions and really got me talking about it. And I'm quite, like I said, I'm very happy the way I articulated the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
I think it made a lot more sense than my senseless, incoherent rambling that usually happens at 17 to 20 wins on weekend league. When we reach that point,
Uh-huh.
the rest of the stream is just lost in the ramblings.
So, do you usually get Elite 1 nowadays in Weekend League? Do you usually play the full 30 or do you just stop at a
I
certain rank?
yeah. The last week, I just stopped at 10 mil. I just couldn't be bothered. I had my Sunday, I had my Sunday, and I'll
You
be
didn't
on.
even bother to get silver 1?
I did not. The funny thing, yeah. So I was 10 mil on a Saturday, yeah, and I legit could not turn on the PlayStation on a Sunday, right? My wife's got the day off. We're watching movies. We're relaxing. We're eating some good food, having a good time, and I legit could not bring myself to turn on the PlayStation to go and get that one extra win, right? In the remaining 20 games, I just couldn't do it. Uh, Honestly, I couldn't do it.
I
I've
think that's
seen,
good.
yeah,
That's
and I
good.
think like I genuinely couldn't do it, and I told my chat, my stream, the group, just the Discord as well. I'm taking the day off. I need my Sunday, so I think going forward, I'm gonna try and play as many games I can on a Friday and Saturday, and I'm taking my Sunday, man. I'm sorry. I think, like I said, I'm starting to agree with people who say I'm a bit too old. I think I'm a bit too old to be like I said, rambling on a Sunday about FIFA gameplay. No,
Nah, I think
I
that's
didn't
good.
bother.
I think that's good. Silver 1 isn't that important. Honestly, it's not really that important. Well, maybe me, I probably would have done it, but
It was so funny
honestly,
because I know it
uh-huh.
was one game. But no, I enjoyed my Sunday. If
That's good.
on the flip side, yeah, it
That's
was
good.
really good. It
Yeah.
was really good,
Uh-huh.
and I think that's important as well. Just talking about that, do you finish champs? Uh, I think a lot of players need to understand that. The fear of missing out, not just on FIFA and just in general in life. You get so scared of missing out on things uh,
Mm.
that you end up not taking any time for yourself, right?
Mm.
And especially with something like FIFA and foot champs, don't play a weekend. Don't
Mm.
let the game have that much power over you that you can't enjoy a weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
weird when you think about taking a holiday and you're like, oh crap, but I'm gonna miss these two weekend leagues. I can't take a
Right.
holiday, right? I think you should never get to that point, right? Uh, but I think FIFA's done pretty well that way, right? Getting you so engaged that you're so worried about not playing your 30 games. It's
Mm.
insane because people are
Yeah.
thinking about it as soon as you're done on. I know some people finish the weekend league on Mondays. You're thinking about that till Thursday because you're thinking about the rewards on Thursday, and then even before that, you're thinking about team of the week on Wednesday, and then before that, you're thinking about I want to get rank one in division rivals.
Mm-hmm.
So you've just put the controller down of 30 games of weekend league on a Monday, pick that back up. You're on it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You're collecting your rewards. It's Friday weekend league again, right?
Mm.
So that way they've got the engagement metrics down really well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think players need to understand. Uh, I think your mental health
Mm.
is way more important than a red Kayla Navas, right? That's why everybody who finished weekend league and reminded me that I didn't finish, right? You're gonna get a red Kayla Navas. Yeah? Mental health over a red Kayla Navas
Mm.
every day of the week, right?
Mm-hmm.
People need to learn that. I think that's quite important. Uh, FIFA, unless you're a pro, should not have the control over people's lives
Mm-hmm.
as it does right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, miss a weekend league, miss two weekend leagues, spend some time with your family, right? Especially during these times. Uh, well, that's the reason I couldn't do it on a Sunday. I was like, nah, just gonna watch some movies, watch some Die Hard. My wife's never seen Die Hard before.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Right? I was getting ready to tear up all the marriage docs. Yeah, she
Uh-huh.
hasn't seen Die Hard. We watched Die Hard. You know what? We even watched Terminator. She hasn't seen the Terminator. Can you
Oh
imagine
wow.
that?
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I know. So we watched Terminator as well. It was a good
Mm-hmm.
weekend,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think that's how I want to see my weekends going.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, Saturday, play some foot champs maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever I get to, that's where I get to.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, enjoy the day off.
Mm-hmm.
How about you? How was your weekend? And coming to where I did finish, normally if I try now, I mean not even try, like I can easily finish Elite 3. just finish Elite 3, take the TOTS packs.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's a lot easier than trying to go for Elite 1, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Elite 1 is pretty hard now. These kids are playing like their lives on the
Mm.
line, right? Some of these kids are playing like their favorite teddy bear is in the other room, and somebody's got a gun to their head, right? Honestly, or their favorite blankie or something like that. They've
Uh-huh.
gone in the other room, right?
Uh-huh.
And somebody's got a gun to that teddy bear's head, and they're like, no chance, no
Uh-huh.
chance. Rupert's dying today,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's going on. I can't do Elite 1. I don't think it's worth it. It's not worth the spice, right? But Elite 3 is still doable, right? Comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
You can lose 7 games, no worries. Bada bing, bada boom. Get your
Yeah.
23, get your tots back.
Yeah. You know, my goal is just to get gold one in 21. Just let me get gold one once, and I'll be happy. Honestly, that's my goal. And
Yeah,
I'm
and
getting like really close, but I just keep bottling it.
yeah, to me, I think it's because people rush their games, you know.
Mm.
I'll be completely honest. I don't know how many people could hit Elite 3 even who currently hit Elite 1 if they played all their games on a Friday.
Mm.
I don't think they could hit Elite 3 because the the matchmaking on Friday is a lot harder than it is on say a Saturday or a Sunday or even the Monday. You know,
Mm.
the matchmaking is way harder on a Friday. So what I tell people who want to really climb ranks is uh, spread your games out. You know,
Mm-hmm.
get max of 10 games in on a Friday,
Mm-hmm.
another max of 10 games in on a Saturday, and then 10 games on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. You know, it's a
Yeah.
perfect split. You don't feel burnout too much,
Yeah.
uh, and you don't run into crazy matchmaking as well.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
if you want to be super cautious, save some games for a Monday morning
Mm-hmm.
or Monday morning for us. But I guess for you that would be
It ends on midnight for us.
midnight Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
towards the end,
Yeah.
the last four, 3, 4 hours, because
Mm-hmm.
people tend to, if you score a goal, people tend to just rage quit. At 1-0,
Mm.
people just rage quit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
that. So if you spread your games out, it's easier to finish higher.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but obviously, if you're a competitive player trying to get top 200, you need the skill rating. So
Uh-huh.
your skill rating is determined by the level of skill of opponents you play against.
Uh-huh.
So that's why on Friday it's pretty sweaty because all the pros are trying to get top 200. They're all smashing it out on a Friday.
I see.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's a handy little tip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'll try to utilize that. I do try to spread it out. I do try to play 10, 10, 10. And
And,
then
and if Fridays are really bad, probably just do like 5 on a Friday and
okay.
up the number of games towards the end of
Mm,
Sunday.
mm. Yeah, I'll try to do that. Try to
Yeah.
get that gold one. Well, we're already over our end, so let me end with like one final question. Um, what is it you want to do with the rest of 21 and with streaming, um, towards this later half of the year?
I think that's a good question. I was actually debating, how many more weeks I want to continue playing because, like I said, I'm not happy with uh, the direction I went in this year in terms of having competitive, then having RTG, then maybe half-assing both. It
Mm-hmm.
depends on what I'm going to do next year. But from now until the end, the Ultimate Tots weekend is coming up. That's
Mm-hmm.
basically the best team of the season players as rewards. I think that's the one final week I'm planning to do weekly.
Is
Uh,
that top?
and
Is that the top 11 players?
yeah, that's going to be 11 of the best from all the leagues, from the top 5 leagues.
Okay.
So your
Uh
best
huh.
French league players, your best Premier League players, Serie A players, Bundesliga players. It's just going to have the best of those.
Mm-hmm.
So your red picks are going to be pretty decent as well, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's probably the last for me. Because then after that, I might just take a break from FIFA. In terms of
Mm.
streaming, I might start looking into other games that I do enjoy playing. I do enjoy playing a lot of Call of Duty, so that there might be something in the works for that.
Okay.
Uh, in terms of streams, Call of Duty, I think GTA, maybe Rocket League, some other games. I want to try some other games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think FIFA for me, one last weekend league after the Ultimate Dots, and then is there going to be a Euro game mode? apparently there are some rumors. I don't know if you played. I don't think you played FIFA 18. There was a World Cup mode
Mm-hmm.
with like yeah World Cup cards and stuff. So I don't know if there's going to be a
Mm.
Euros game mode in FIFA. If that's there, maybe we back some more FIFA.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but if not, I think Ultimate Tots Weekend League is going to be the last one.
Oh wow. You gotta play all 30 for that one?
Yep, yep. One last right.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's big. Dang. I'm gonna have to tune in then.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to turn
Hopefully we
in
get
if that's gonna
elite
be the last
because
time you play.
yeah.
I gotta see some S tier gameplay before you call it you're done with 21.
21. Yep.
No, obviously I'll still stop by for streams, but
Yeah. No. No.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I want to see you play FIFA, see that gameplay. But yeah, that's about it. I think we've gone like an hour 30 probably,
Yeah.
maybe a
Yeah.
little less than
Apologies for
that.
that. Yeah.
No, no, no
That's
worries. I enjoyed it.
that's
That
me
was a lot of
rambling.
fun.
It's finally somebody wants to wants to actually talk to me. So I got to take the best of this opportunity to actually speak. And I think
Uh-huh.
I've done that. So I'm quite happy with that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you remind people of your platforms again, where they could find you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitch, so twitch.tv/SeanJohn2715, and the same on Twitter, twitter.com/SeanJohn2715. And yeah, those are my main platforms.
Yeah,
Thank you.
please follow Sean John on both those platforms. Great streamer, great tweets on Twitter. I'll leave the links in the description below. And
Yep.
yeah, that's it for the podcast, guys.